Hello everyone, this is Pico Entertainment and we are back again. I'm going to talk boxing now and a review of the recent fight between Dillian Whyte and Alexander Povetkin. So if you don't know my channel by now, when I do these reviews I don't put the result in the title, but I will talk about the fight in depth and the result and everything that went on. So if you don't know the result yet, I advise you go away, catch up with the result and then come back to the video, because I'll obviously be talking about what happened in the fight. So we come to the review now, and wow, I guess this just undermines or underlines, if you like, the dangers or the hazards of heavyweight boxing. How one fighter can be seemingly completely in control and then all of a sudden bang, one moment completely changes the direction and the outcome of the fight, because that's essentially what happened here. Of course, we have the result where Dillian Whyte is knocked out sensationally by Alexander Povetkin in the 5th round. After really the first 4 rounds, Dillian Whyte seemingly being in complete control, looking very composed, completely set in his position, using his jab a lot, looking very controlled. And I think in terms of just pure boxing, this was actually, I think, probably one of his best performances, if not his best performances. I commented previously when I did the previews to this fight that if we look at the previous fights that he had against Parker and Rivas and the 2 fights against Chisora, those were really back and forth. There were many moments in all of those fights when Dillian Whyte was seemingly out of control, seemingly out of his feet. There was a really life and death encounters, a lot of them, but that wasn't the case here. This was the case when Dillian Whyte really was clearly the superior fighter, clearly the superior boxer. Like I said, in terms of technique and use of his jab, use of his shots, he was very controlled, and it was probably the most measured performance I've seen from Dillian Whyte. But as heavyweight boxing, well, in all boxing, but particularly heavyweight boxing, one punch changes everything. So if we go through the whole rounds in particular, the first couple of rounds, it was really a tentative start, a very cagey start, but I expected that. You know, they've been out the ring for so long, out of form, out of competition for that amount of time. You're not going to go in there and just start swinging and winging away like that. You're going to be more measured in your approach, and that's what we had here. Povetkin was coming forward with his hooks, but Dillian Whyte was keeping him at bay with his jab, keeping his distance. There was no real major action or impactful punches in round 1. When we go to round 2, again, Dillian Whyte, the better work was coming from him. More evasive, just moving him around the ring, using that jab, a couple of combinations here or there, but nothing too spectacular. Povetkin was coming forward, again, throwing hooks, trying to go to the body, but not really making any headway or building up any momentum or causing any major damage. So the clear second round for Dillian Whyte was there. We go on to the 3rd round. Dillian Whyte, he looked good, he was picking shots well. Good combinations here and there from Povetkin in the 3rd. He was trying to put the pressure on, trying to corner Dillian Whyte, but not really coming forward with any real position or composure within his punches. It was cagey from both fighters. Povetkin was coming forward but not really showing any real impact or effect going forward. He was always showing the intent, but I guess maybe at 40 years old, that ring sharpness, that ring position has got to go at some point. So another round for Dillian Whyte, and we come to the 4th round. Dillian Whyte just going behind his jab, and I initially thought it was a body punch, but I think it was a left hook to the face, knocking down Povetkin in the 4th round. The left hook really on top of him at this point. It was more of a flash knockdown, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But we go on later on the round. Povetkin gets up. Whyte looked more precise, he looked fresher, he looked sharper. Povetkin was coming forward now, hooking away, missing, still coming forward, and then Whyte knocks him down again with another flash knock left. It was more of a counter punch, I think. Povetkin came forward and it was more of a left uppercut, I think, just sending Povetkin down, but it was really more of a flash knockdown. Povetkin got up straight away. His balance was still in check. He didn't seem that disorientated. His legs were still stable, and Dillian Whyte just came forward again, just jabbing away. Now, at this point, Dillian Whyte is seemingly completely in control. He's almost knocking down Povetkin at will, just using his jab, using combinations, moving him around the ring. You could argue maybe he was too comfortable. Now, when you know you can knock an opponent down, and when you get 2 quick knockdowns in the same round, you're going to feel comfortable, right? You maybe take your foot off the gas a bit and not come forward with as much intensity, because you've got him where you wanted. You know, you're the younger man, you're the fresher man. This guy's 41, you've knocked him down twice already. Povetkin hasn't threatened you with any real punch to begin with, so you're going to feel more comfortable. Now, people might argue that maybe Dillian Whyte should have put the pressure on when he knocks him down twice, but when it's a flash knockdown, it's a different case, and the fighter gets back up straight away. You are aware of what damage you inflict to your opponent. You can see clearly whether you've buzzed him or whether you've hurt him or whether you've caught him in trouble. Now, if you don't think you've got him in trouble and the guy gets up straight away, he's got his hands up and he's still coming forward, you're going to be a bit more circumspect, because you don't want to go charging in there and get caught on the counter. So that's why I think Dillian Whyte just was a bit more restrained and just kept fighting behind his jab and throwing a bit more combinations. He probably felt that security that he could knock this guy down anytime he wanted to, and again, because he's the younger, fresher guy, he probably felt, well, just keep doing what I'm doing, Povetkin will tire out in the next couple of rounds and that's when I'll take him out. So we go to the 5th round, and again, it's the same as usual, just Dillian Whyte popping his jab, moving around, a couple of body punches here or there. Povetkin now, I think, felt a bit of desperation at this point. You could see that. You could see the way he was really coming forward, trying to apply pressure more, throwing hooks to the body, throwing hooks to the head. Again, not making any really major headway, if you like. And then we come to the moment, and what happened here is that Dillian Whyte was using his jab, and he's gone for a quick 1-2, right? Jab with the left, throw with the right. He's thrown with the right hand, yes, and he's ducked down, right? And because his arms extended, he's gone to bring his arms back up in order to get his hands up so we can start fighting with the jab again. And it's in that space there, that space of time between the moment he's thrown the punch and then gone to pull the punch back, and that's when he's open. And then that's when Povetkin comes in with a brutal uppercut, flush on the face, bang. Dillian Whyte hits the floor. He is not getting down, he's not getting up again. You know clearly when you see a fighter go on the floor, straight away, bang, that's it, game over. And that's the difference between the punch of Povetkin and the 2 knockdowns of Dillian Whyte. They were flash knockdowns. Povetkin got back straight back up and was ready to fight, right? But this one was bang, full flush on there. Was Dillian Whyte reckless? No, I don't think he was. I just think it was actually good evasive movement from Povetkin, just moving to the left. Dillian Whyte throws his punch. As he pulls his punch back, he's left open. At this point, Povetkin is just throwing hooks. He was throwing hooks all fight, but he's going to be more desperate because he probably felt he couldn't finish the fight. Maybe he felt if this continues, he's going to get stopped. So, of course, he's going to take more chances. He's going to take more risks. He's going to come more forward. He's going to load up more on his punches. And that's what this was here. Just full on uppercut, bang. Dillian Whyte hits the floor. Game over. Povetkin is the victor. Now, we do know that there is a rematch clause after the post-match interviews. Now, I'm a bit cynical here because all the build up here was that, well, Dillian Whyte is putting his mandatory position on the line. You know, the mandatory position he's waited for 1,000 days for. He's putting everything on the line, risking it against Alexander Povetkin. They were very quiet on the rematch clause. There was no mention of the rematch clause, was there? They kept very hush on that. So it's not as much of a risk, is it? Because he knows whatever happens, he's got the rematch, right? Which of 100% he's going to exercise. Of course he's going to, right? He's not going to wait all of these 1,000 supposed days for the mandatory clause and then leave it and throw it away. Especially when I think he was dominant in the fight. I think it would have been maybe a bit different if Povetkin had gone in there and completely destroyed him, but that wasn't the case. He was completely controlling the fight and just got knocked out. It was a bit similar to what we had with, if you remember, the Amir Khan fight against Danny Garcia, where Amir Khan, look, Dillian Whyte was throwing combinations, moving them around the ring, winning every round, and then boom, that left hook comes in and completely changes the fight. Could argue the same with what happened with Joshua in his first fight against Ruiz, wasn't it? Completely in control, gets the knockdown, and then boom, the left hook changes everything. And that's what happened here. And I don't think Dillian Whyte did anything wrong in his performance. I just think maybe he could have asserted himself more when he scored the second knockdown. But again, because of Povetkin's manner and the nature of what he got up very quickly and was ready to fight, you're going to be a bit more conservative, especially when you're in complete control of the fight. But yeah, that's heavyweight boxing. I'm afraid that you're going to get fights like that. It's not always going to be a case where somebody completely controls the narrative for 12 rounds. You know, we saw it again with Deontay Wilder and Luis Ortiz, right? Luis Ortiz seemingly winning every single round, and then bang, one knockdown changes everything. So this is what happens, and you know, it's just the way it is in heavyweight boxing. You leave yourself open for one moment, someone catches you flush, bang, game over. So the rematch, I think, will happen. I mean, in the interviews they were talking about maybe December time. Povetkin, of course, will take that. It's another big payday for him. If we have a case of whether the crowds are coming back, they can really drive the hype up for that. So they'll probably do even better results in terms of numbers for the second fight if it does indeed happen this year. So yeah, that's just the way it is. It's a setback for Dillian Whyte, but it doesn't really change anything in the overall picture, because as I mentioned in my fight preview, he wasn't going to get any mandatory shot this year against Joshua or Fury, because as I said, they've already got their mandatory fights that they've got to fight already. So he wasn't going to get his shot until next year anyway, right? So all that happens now is that he'll fight in December, and then if he wins, he'll still get his mandatory shot. Maybe that will happen now instead of February 2021. It may happen in April or May. Of course, depends what happens with the other fighters. So overall picture, it's just a minor setback, and he's just got to go away and maybe just tighten up on his defense a bit, maybe be a bit more aggressive and assertive when he gets to knock down Povetkin, if he does the second time round. So really, I'm not going to attack Dillian Whyte too much, because he was in control of the fight and he was dominating and he was winning. It's just one of those where happens in boxing. You leave yourself open for 1 minute, boom, get caught, and if the opponent catches you flush, then that's it, game over. So congratulations to Alexander Povetkin, extends his career for longer, you know, 41 years old. You know, you look at his interview afterwards, even though we had the interpreter there, he doesn't care at this point. He's just happy to get the win and just carry on fighting. It's another payday for him, and if he beats Dillian Whyte, then he can get another massive payday against Tyson Fury, if it is Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder, depending what happens in their match. So yeah, he's laughing. He's, you know, he's in a great position now. He can go away and train more and carry on the next fight. So that's really it, really. You know, it was just one punch. That's all it was. Nothing wrong with Dillian Whyte's conditioned. He looked leaner, he looked sharper, he looked quicker. I did raise my concerns, but I was basing it on the previous match against Marcus Wack, where he didn't look in shape and he didn't look in condition, but here he did. So he performed well. He just got caught. That's all it is. So I know a lot of his detractors and haters, they may pour scorn in him now, you know, and that's the way it goes when you're a fighter. If you're gonna be out there, be spoken, talk trash against other boxers, then when you lose, you're gonna get that backlash as well. That's just the name of the game. That's the way it is. That's the nature of the sport. So that's it, really. Those are my thoughts on the fight between Dillian Whyte and Alexander Povetkin. Just that standard narrative of being in complete control, and then boom, one moment completely changes the way and the outcome of the fight. It's gonna happen. As usual, it's happened before and it happens again. So congratulations to Alexander Povetkin, and Dillian Whyte can go away, come back in the rematch, may even get a greater reward, like I said, if we get crowds back again and they can drive up the pay-per-view sales. So it may work out well for him in the long run going in the future. But yeah, just a bit back to the drawing board, a bit of thinking to do, and he'll come back, I'm sure, pretty stronger in the rematch. So those are my thoughts on the Whyte versus Povetkin. Let me know what you think in the comments below. What did you think about this fight? Do you think it's over for Dillian Whyte, or do you think he can bounce back and come back stronger in the future? What do you think about Alexander Povetkin now? If the rematch doesn't happen and he somehow gets his shot at the WBC, do you think he has a chance against Fury or Wilder if that opportunity arises? So that's it for now. Take care of yourselves, stay at safe distances, and I will see you very, very soon.